If it's going to be practical, just as it was for a young Jewish, they had instruction, they had learning, they were instructed from the time they were very young in the Torah. We need time, and we need it for all our lives, to read, to meditate on the Word of God, to spend time in prayer. So it needs to come at a cost, not a neglect of family and other needs. And why do I say that? Because it's not a question of saying, okay, I'm going to sit down with the family and have dinner, and then I'm going to disappear into my study and spend the time there, and neglect the needed time for married with their wives, for children when they're younger. It's very important to go in, but it should come in many cases at a cost. It can come by getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning instead of 7 and having the time. We need that time. I recognize that body clocks are different. Some of it's easy to get up in the morning. For others, it's easy to stay up at night. But just think about it in this way. If we neglect it, it's like a pond that has no inlet for water and dries up. We become spiritually dry and empty. Someone can say, well, people need to be saved. And that's absolutely true. And how shall they hear without a preacher? That's absolutely true. So we need this individual time to go in. We also need to be in the Lord's presence, to remember him in his death, at the breaking of bread, be together at meetings. The gathering in South America, a place that I'm very familiar with, won't need to mention it, but I said, oh, we're having meetings 7 nights a week. And it's possible now too for us. We're connections that we have through internet. And that's wonderful, but it also needs to be in balance with the time we have for feeding in our own family, the fellowship with our own family. But we need to be very careful we don't become spiritually dry and empty. Another way that happens is if someone is very dedicated to prayer, which is a wonderful thing, but very neglectful of reading and meditating on the Word of God. What happens in that case? It becomes like a one-way conversation. Person often becomes mystical in one way or another because they're not getting the teaching, the instruction from the Word of God.